Welcome to the Solo Edit Podcast, a podcast for estheticians looking for a weekly dose of motivation, inspiration, and honest conversations about life in and out of the treatment room. Hey there, welcome back. I am super excited because Kin just had a birthday. And although Kin has had many lives and has taken many forms over the last 6 years, this anniversary specifically marks the beginning of Kin that you know today. So this version of Kin, the distribution side, is officially 3 years old. Honestly, I just want to take a moment to say thank you for continuing to choose us when we are still becoming. I talk a lot about branding because I think it is the foundation for a strong business, and it's often overlooked or undervalued. And will look differently for each business, but I wanted to share a little bit about how I developed the Kin brand because it's something that we're asked often. First and foremost, Kin for me is not just a business to make money. It is everything that I love all mashed up together. It's an experience. It's those details that make other people feel special and seen. Also, it is a creative outlet. It's also a way for me to connect with other people within the industry. When I first started Kin, the skincare studio side, I, as a solo esthetician, felt really lonely. And so this is kind of an extension or a solution to how I was feeling back then. So now it's a place where estheticians can land, whether they're new or have been in the industry for a long time, and it's hopefully a place of inspiration and support. This isn't to say that we get it right every time, because we certainly do not, but we do try. And that's why I said thank you for continuing to choose us when we are still becoming. I don't think there will ever be a point where I'm like, okay, we're good, we got this. Branding is about evolution, and you have to be okay with continuing to evolve and be inspired by change and not overwhelmed. Although I will admit there are many times and many days that do feel overwhelming. In the earlier days of Kin, and I'm talking about when I had my little 400 square foot studio, there was no roadmap, and I definitely did not have a business plan. There was nothing. And my family was very worried about me, and for good reason, because I can be extremely impulsive, which actually has served me well in a lot of ways, but has also gotten me in a lot of trouble. When I opened Kin Aesthetics as a skincare studio, I knew that I wanted Kin to be really unique. I wanted it to be an escape from the outside world, and I wanted it to be like nothing anyone else was doing. Now, this is a part that I hope will resonate with you as a business owner, because when I started my business, I had no clients except for like a couple. And I remember writing "coming soon" on the outside of the studio window and thinking, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I know I'm going to do it. So first, I focused on what I had direct control over in the moment, which was the space that I was kind of creating. I wanted something that was neutral with some subtle branding elements, and that included the lettering on the outside of the window. I made some really pretty rat cards that felt more artsy than like menu. I had a drink station that had really unique teas that were in these like really pretty little packages. I had slippers in the winter when the floor was really cold. I had really nice quality bedding for the table. I had a charging station for phones. And then I had this like little post-treatment bar that had like a comb, hair bands. I had dry shampoo. I can't remember what else I had. And then I also had a signature scent for the entire space. In addition to creating a space that felt really inviting and warm, and mind you, I made sure it was clean, spotless clean all of the time, I would also block off 10 additional minutes between clients that did not include the cleanup. So cleanup was always 15 minutes to flip everything. But in the very beginning, I added another 10 minutes. Now, I know you could add those 10 minutes together and I would likely have an additional hour in the day where I could be making money. But I really wanted to make the client feel special and not rushed. Obviously, time is money, but in the beginning, you do have to hustle a little bit. And this was kind of my way of letting the client know that they were the only thing that mattered in that moment. Even to this day, I don't ever want any part of my business to feel transactional. I feel like so many businesses miss this. And just to share something personal, I recently went to this med spa and the entire experience was so impersonal. I could tell that I was just there to make them money, which is true. Nobody wants to feel that way, right? So I think it's really important that we take our time with our clients to just make sure that they feel like that hour or however long they're with you is theirs. So the way that I connected and made my clients feel special was absolutely an extension of my brand. If they were late, I would say, no problem. We might have to cut your appointment a little bit short, but that's okay. Or if they forgot their appointment the first time, it was like, no problem. And is everything okay? Can I help you get rebooked? Now, many estheticians are unforgiving when it comes to things that kind of just pop up, and to each their own. I just know that without a doubt, the way I treated my clients is how I became fully booked with a waitlist within a year of opening. I always say, yes, we own businesses, and yes, that's how we feed our families, but we also wouldn't have a business without our clients. So I think it's really important to have grace and gratitude. Those two things are really essential. Something else I did pretty early on was setting up automated emails. This was a way to nurture the relationship with my clients when they were not in the studio. It was, through promotional emails, happy birthday emails, or just, a studio update. But I made sure to continue that conversation outside the treatment room. And for the record, my emails were not anything special or pretty. They've definitely come a long way. But the point is, I started somewhere and I would look at the KPIs, the open rates, the click rates to see what was resonating, what people were interested in. And by looking at those numbers, I knew what type of content to create more of. Another way to strengthen relationships is through retail. And I know that sounds crazy because I know a lot of estheticians feel really uneasy selling retail. And I get it because I used to feel that same way. I never wanted to sell something just to sell something. It felt really sleazy. It felt like we're just asking for more money after they just spent money on their service. A couple of years into it, I had like a complete shift in perspective. Products are an extension of the service that your clients need to be using home care if they want to see real results. So we're not just selling products for fun. This is actually part of the treatment plan. And when clients start seeing those results by using your products, they will start to see you as a trusted source, and that will help deepen that relationship. So all of this to say, when I talk about brand, I am not just talking about logos, fonts, and colors. I'm talking about the heartbeat and the consciousness of your business. I think it's so easy to look at what others are doing around us, especially when we're inspired. I don't think that there's anything wrong with feeling inspired by something and asking ourselves, how can I take the essence of what they're doing and make it uniquely mine? That is essentially how the world works. There are very few new ideas. Most are recycled, reimagined, and revamped. All right, if you are struggling with your brand, here are 5 questions to ask yourself. The first, what feeling do I want my clients to experience the moment they step into my world, before they even step into my business? So for example, what is the first point of contact with your business? Is it your website? And if so, is it functional, easy to navigate, informative, and does it have branded photos that aren't just like the generic ones that you can get off Canva? Does a client, when on your website, get excited about what they booked because your website is beautiful? A website is not just a website, it's a preview of what's to come. But I also want to say, don't overcomplicate it too much. Don't use words that only estheticians understand. Keep it really simple, make it pretty, and use your own imagery to make it your own. Likewise, the feeling that clients could experience or prospective clients could experience before they even step into your business is what they've heard via word of mouth. That is one of the best ways to build your business, is through referrals and people talking about you. And so think about the way you treat your clients and what they could potentially be saying to others that would make new clients want to book with you. The second is, what beliefs or philosophies guide the way that I treat skin, care for my clients, or just make decisions overall? There are so many ways to take this, but just like one example is knowing that brand essence is rooted in worldview. Knowing what your beliefs and philosophies are going to help you identify who your ideal clients are. Knowing who your ideal clients are will let you know how you need to reach them and what language you need to use and able to market to them. For example, if you are a HyraFix SD and you're sick of seeing all of the chemical burns and laser mishaps all over the internet, maybe you center your business around being an expert in skin of color. You could become the go-to person that people trust and feel safe and feel seen and valued. There is a lot to unpack there, but I think niching into these little areas is really great for business. An alternative is, and I've shared this story in my trainings many times, before I sold my studio, Esma is an esthetician. She was working with me, and she is Muslim. And we were doing a photo shoot, and we had a model who was her friend, and we were taking photos. And at one point, Esma was like, "Oh, it's such a pretty photo, but we're not going to be able to share it because you can see her hair." Now, I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. And unfortunately, I don't know a lot about any religion, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, what have you. I'm not well versed in those. My point is, I would have never known about maintaining that modesty had she not said anything. And it really opened my eyes to just how many different types of cultures, religions, just people in general, and how we kind of meet them where they are or respect their beliefs. And so I had said to Esma, I would have never known that it could be your superpower. Maybe you market to women in your community that know and feel like they will be represented and understood. And that was an idea. Another example I have that came up when I was doing separate training is I went to a school and we were talking about branding or just niching. And one of the STs there said that in waxing school, she never allowed anyone to wax her because she has HS. And she was very, very self-conscious about it. And she kind of started tearing up, crying a little bit. And we were talking about like the whole branding. And I said to her, I'm like, well, maybe that's your superpower. Maybe you can cater to women that also have HS. And in doing that, they will know that you know the condition. You're sensitive to how insecure they may be feeling about it. And I was like, maybe that's your niche, is that you support women or do specialized waxing for people that have HS. Just another idea. So there's really so many ways you can kind of niche, and those are just a couple of examples. The third is, why did I choose this path? And what part of my story shapes the way that I show up today? Purpose and personal narrative are powerful anchors for identity. Loving what we do is so important, especially solo estheticians, because businesses will ebb and flow, and it's really our passion that will get us over those periods of hardship. Maybe your story began because you struggled with acne, or maybe because you love makeup and the artistry of it all, and you just want to be a makeup artist. Or maybe you're like me and your aunt used to take you to spas as a little girl and you just loved having those moments for yourself. The fourth is, what do I want to be known for? And this could be beyond services. This points to differentiation, trust, education, ritual, transformation, result, all of those things. Do you want to be known for a special facial massage technique? Maybe you have a special themed spa, or maybe it is a pre-service ritual that you do and that you become known for. I will never forget this spa in Thailand where I went for a massage a couple times and they sat me in my own little room. I had like a little foot soak that was waiting for me. I sat on a pillow that was heated. I was able to pick out the tea that I wanted for that day. And then somebody combed my hair, and it was like the most amazing thing ever. And they did this before every massage. And honestly, that was part of the reason why I went back for the massage, was just because I loved these little like details and this extra moment that they allowed. The fifth is, if my brand were a person, how would it speak, behave, and make others feel? This helps define personality, tone, and then the emotional imprint that your clients will remember. I'll never forget two estheticians that came to one of our trainings. They own Hermana Studio. Shout out to Tiffany and Amber. They explained that they looked at their brand like it was a person, and that everything they did in business was to serve her and her best interest. And I love this because it really takes the ego out of everything. You're driving interest to the brand instead of yourself. And I just, like I said, I love that so much. I am sharing all of this with you today, knowing full well that branding is not, as I said before, a destination. And I know Kin will continue to evolve and change. And I know that I don't have all the right answers. I just kind of simply follow what feels right to me in the moment. I want Kin to be a place where estheticians feel seen and valued, where they feel like they have another esthetician rooting for them, and they don't feel like they have to just grow alone. I want Kin to be a place of inspiration and a place where everyone feels safe to ask questions. And I want it to be the go-to place for the best professional Korean skincare, obviously. Thank you so much for being here today. If this episode resonated with you, I'd be grateful if you gave us a like, a download, or share it with a fellow esthetician. I'll see you next week, same time, same place.